Oh, greetings. Sorry, I didn't notice you. I was deep in thought. Contemplating my life, strange events that happened recently. You see, it's been a very extraordinary day. In fact, it actually started out quite ordinary. See, I am a centurion, an officer in the Roman army, stationed in Jerusalem, probably a place where about as far away as you can get and still be in the empire. Very strange place with strange customs to us Romans. But you see, my duties, one of them is to oversee the crucifixions. You may think that's kind of a gruesome job, but it's actually come quite ordinary. This morning I looked at the docket and discovered that I only had 2 crucifixions, 2 thieves. Easy day. But as the morning went on, an order came down from the area governor, Pontius Pilate, said he wanted a man to be scourged. When they brought him out to me, I recognized him right away. He was this Jesus of Nazareth. He had been causing quite a stir with rumors of miracles and even raising people from the dead, making the religious leaders kind of nervous. But they don't have any authority over anything here. But recently, he had been claiming to be the king of the Jews. And this we can't have because the emperor is ruler over all. So we took him to the place to be scourged. He didn't say a word, not a sound. We set him up to be stretched up so that he could be scourged. Now, scourge, or cat of 9 tails, as some people call it, is a whip like this, with 9 strands on it, and sometimes we would glue shards of glass or pottery on there so that when we whipped it down on the body, it would cling to it and rip the flesh. And when my men proceeded to do that, at one point they had to go to the other side of his body just so we had room to do as many lashes that were required. Well, at that time, my men who were, they had been away from home for a long time and needed to let off some steam. So I let them, and what they did, since he was claiming to be king of the Jews, they took a purple robe and draped it around his bleeding body, and they fashioned a crown of thorns. Very long and sharp thorns, and drove it down on his head so that the thorns caused bleeding to come down, drops of blood that looked like jewels coming down his face. Well, we led him back to the governor, and he brought them back to the people and put them up in front of the crowd. And next to him was Barabbas. He was also there. And he said to the crowd, "During your Passover, we have a custom of letting one of our prisoners free. You have a choice, Barabbas or Jesus." The crowd, who just a few days earlier had taken palms and waved it through him and welcomed him, saying, "Hosanna," and everything. But now this crowd was saying, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" And the governor had no choice but to let Barabbas free, and we had a third person to crucify. As we took the 3, we each gave them their own crosspiece to carry through the streets of Jerusalem. And there were crowds on each side. Some were jeering, some were crying, some were laughing. That happens quite often during our crucifixions. At one point, Jesus was so weak that he fell to the ground, and I had to grab a foreigner, I believe he was from Cyrene, to come and carry it for him to the place of the skull, of Golgotha. Now when we brought him up, we laid him down on the cross, and then we took 3 nails, very large nails, 2 in his hands through the wrist where it would hold on tighter. If we put it up here, which we sometimes did, it could rip off. But we put it through here and here, and then 1 through his feet. Now crucifixion is actually a death by suffocation. Because when the arms are up like this and hanging, it pushes your ribs against your lungs so you can't breathe. And the only way he could breathe or talk was to push up on his feet. And during these times he said several things. He said, one I will never forget. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Well, one of the thieves on one side was jeering at him and saying, if you are truly the King of the Jews, bring us down from here. But the other one said, hey, you don't know what you're saying. He's done nothing wrong. Jesus looked over at him and said that he will be in paradise with him. As a Roman, these are things I didn't understand at all, and why he was doing this. The sky got darker and darker, and he was up there, and the last thing he said as he looked up to heaven was, it is finished. And I looked up at him and saw him die. Well, we had to make sure, so we took one of our spears and put it in his side, and water and blood came gushing out. We took a spear and broke the legs of the other 2 thieves because they were dying as quickly and they needed to die quickly. His friends came and wanted to bury him right away before their Passover. And I granted that. But I remember looking up at him as he gave up his life and said, truly, this man was the Son of God.